First game of the week is going to be Arkansas versus LSU at 11 a.m. on ESPN. Arkansas coming off a big-time loss against Florida, 63-35. I expect them to come back in this game trying to reinsert their confidence on defensive side. I don't expect them to let off a lot of points this game. Even though LSU does score a lot of points, I don't expect them to allow LSU to score a lot of points. So my keys to the game for them is I need their defense to dominate the game from the start. I need them to come out with a lot of energy from the start. I don't need any hangovers. This is a game that you don't want to kind of wait to the second half to try to show up. We also need their offense to establish a run game. Between Boyd and Smith, we need one of them to be consistent against this LSU defense. When it comes to LSU, they average a lot of points. They have a very high-power offense, but they're lacking at the quarterback position. They're very young. So my keys to them is to move the ball, but also limit their turnovers. Arkansas is a very good team, maybe lead the nation in turnovers or interceptions. So we need them to be very disciplined, that he's a young quarterback with the ball, and move the ball and make the good choices. Also, we need their defense to force turnovers. Felipe Franks is very good at protecting the ball. So we need LSU's defense to try to commit some turnovers to get their offense on the field as much as possible. With the second game, we have Florida versus Vandy. Florida has a very high-power offense when it comes to the passing the ball. What I expect them to do this game, even though it should be a cakewalk, I expect them to establish a run game because the playoffs, you can't just be pass heavy. The run game has to be there. When it comes to Vandy, they're a very depleted team. I think they're very young. They average about 16 points a game, so they don't really have too many offensive weapons. What I expect them from this game is time of possession. Try to keep the ball away from Florida as much as possible in that high-powered offense. Establish a run game. Try to get some passes on the play. So I expect Vandy to try to do something, but I do have Florida winning that game. Our third game, we have Alabama versus Kentucky. Alabama has a high-power offense as always. They average about 47 points per game. What I expect my keys for Alabama is I need their defensive line to dominate from the line of scrimmage. Kentucky has a good offensive line, but I expect Alabama's defensive line to win the game for them, dominate the line of scrimmage, and stop that Kentucky run. On Kentucky, I don't need them to be so run heavy. They rely a lot on that run. They don't have a lot of weapons at wide receiver. So I expect them to air the ball out, take chances against Alabama. I know Alabama puts fear in a lot of teams' eyes when it comes to throwing the ball downfield, but I expect Kentucky to try to throw the ball downfield, get those chunk plays, because it's going to be very hard to score if you want to rely on just to run against Alabama. So we need to try to make those chunk plays downfield. The fourth game we have this week, we have Auburn versus Tennessee. This is going to be a very good game. Auburn versus Tennessee. Tennessee average about 20 points a game. They average about 174 passing yards per game, 143 rushing yards per game. They're struggling this year, but my key to the game is I need them to establish consistent quarterback play. They jump from both of their quarterbacks. They both get chances in the game. I think they need to pick one quarterback, stick with him, give him the chance to grow in the system and actually gain confidence. I feel like jumping back and back from quarterback, they've been doing, is really hurting them. So I think they need to find a good quarterback, have good quarterback play, and be disciplined. When it comes to Auburn, they aren't having the season that they are expecting to have. I think that with their offense, it's not as explosive as it used to be. But I feel like this is going to be an easy game. I feel like they can win this game. They're coming off a very bad, embarrassing loss last game they played against Florida. They had a 2-week quarantine, so they're well rested. So I think they will come out very motivated and ready to play. With the fifth game, we have Mississippi State versus Georgia. Mississippi State is a very young team. They don't really average a lot of points. They're not good at run. They rely all on passing. So being that they're playing Georgia, my keys to the game is they need to try to establish a run because they're not going to just be able to pass the ball on Georgia all game. This is not just they're going to have to establish a run, and the defense needs to make plays to get Georgia off the field. Because if Georgia just stays on the field, it'll be a long day for Mississippi State. When it comes to Georgia, I do expect them to bounce back from that loss that they had. I do expect them to have a lot more confidence when it comes to this game. I have them winning. So I don't expect this to be hard for Georgia, but what I need Georgia to do is regain their defensive confidence after that big showing. They let a lot of points off, so they need to regain their defensive confidence. When it comes to Missouri and South Carolina, the last game we have of the schedule at 6:30, I expect Missouri to win this game. My keys for Missouri is the defense needs to dominate the game from the start. I'm impressed with their defense, even though Barry Odom isn't there anymore. They need to dominate the game from the start. They also need to keep South Carolina's offense on the field as much as possible. I know that's kind of hard to say sometimes in the SEC. You kind of want to get teams off the field. But you need to keep South Carolina's offense on the field as much as possible. When it comes to South Carolina, they have a very good offense. They have a very good team. I'm not sure why they're struggling so much. I haven't really watched them as much this year as I should. But my key to the game to them is the defense needs to be more aggressive. They don't really force a lot of turnovers. They sit back there. A lot of passes are completed downfield. So I need them to be more aggressive. And I also need the defense to get off the field. Like I said, force turnovers against Missouri. And then I feel like this game will be a very close game. I do have Missouri winning. But this game is a really good game to watch. And it comes on tonight at 6:30. I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Also leave feedback in the comments. I enjoy reading your feedback. It helps me grow as a YouTuber, and it also helps me give you the content you want to see. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for continuing to enjoy my videos. Love you guys. Stay tuned for next week's video.